Another big issue in the State of the Union is immigration. The President said,
"Finally, if we're serious about economic growth, it is time to heed the call of business leaders, labor leaders, faith leaders, law enforcement, and fix our broken immigration system."
The sticking point, of course, is pathway to citizenship, or as some will call it, amnesty. Conservatives argue that legalizing unlawful immigrants would undermine the rule of law by rewarding illegal activity. Alex Lawson, is this the case?
Look, what is contributing to any sort of lawlessness is a fundamentally broken immigration system, which actually is set up in a way that it tacitly endorses people coming into this country illegally, and that has so many negative consequences for business, for labor, driving down wages. If anything, selective enforcement of a broken immigration system is what encourages a sort of lawless non-understanding of how you should do something, right? I mean, if somebody knows they can come into America, get hired, get paid, and that's not enforced, and the businesses that do hire undocumented workers are not held accountable, that is what is encouraging law breaking. Now, if we set up a law, a comprehensive immigration reform that actually makes it a legal process for people who want to work, they want to grasp the American dream, they want to come here, better themselves and their families, and at the same time better America, that's something that we should do. And that's something that I think there's broad agreement. Doesn't matter what letter is after a person's name, Democrat, Republican, Independent. That's something that the American people agree on. Fairness is a deeply held American value, and the fact that undocumented workers right now are preyed upon by really terrible business practices, such as letting them do the work and then not paying them, or even calling in an ICE raid to deport them before they get paid. Situations like that, that's lawlessness. A law that encourages immigration to happen in a responsible manner is the definition of a law.
Lori?
I'm going to say this. There's not many places that I actually disagree there. I am a huge proponent of comprehensive immigration reform. I could even be so far as to maybe endorse open borders. I mean, I think that we should really let people come in. America is, a beacon of hope for the world, and I think that that's something that we should be willing to share with anyone who is willing to undertake the massive risk to, uproot from where you are and come here and try to make it go with your family. I think that's beautiful. And really, at the end of the day, economics is what controls whether or not people want to come to America. When we have a strong economy, they want to come contribute to that. When we have a weak economy, less people want to come contribute. I don't think that there's a lot of good arguments against comprehensive immigration reform.
Cole?
I mean, I think, another thing to point out is the limited parameters of the debate. Like you said, I think we're having a discussion about whether or not to tie immigration status to, having a job, being able to hold down a job, and that's seen as, kind of a liberal idea. I always think, because this is something that I had studied when I was undergraduate, a thesis about immigration in France and immigrant political movements. And when they tried to have that legislation in France, workers went on strike, and it was the beginning of a, massive, pro-immigrant movement, because that was something that was just inconceivable. So I think it's just interesting to point out the parameters have shifted so far, where this is now seen as a a radical, maybe a liberal demand to ask that people be able to stay in this country on the condition that they hold down a job. So to me, that does not strike me as a particularly progressive or ambitious agenda. So it's just recognizing that.
Jill?
So the only issue in the immigration thing that I want to bring up is one, I'm glad you kind of pointed out that there's difficulty in the president actually implementing and executing the law. I think it's a problem when the president is not executing the law, or executing the law contrary to Congress's demand. The other thing that we should be concerned about is the idea of pushing towards comprehensive big bills rather than small bills, as both sides of this table can agree that there are issues where both left and right, Republican and Democrats, agree. It's better to pursue policies, I think, on a smaller case-by-case basis. That way you don't have the problem where you have this great big comprehensive bill where every half of the things no one else wants, and then you're putting a president again in a situation of selective enforcement. So I think in terms of solving one problem step at a time would be a better approach. There are problems with the system, but trying to do a comprehensive fix everything all at once, that tends to lead to more problems than it solves.
Okay, wonderful.